Thank you. Dee Dee, can you hear us and see us okay? Okay, President Driller.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
President Driller is out of the area, so she's joining us via Zoom or Google Meet teleconference. Thank you. Welcome to the TTUSD board meeting of April 26th. And just like I said last time, I am not yet proficient at running public meetings, so please be kind and patient because I will go slow. Let's see, could we have someone start? How about this young lady in maroon? Would you help us starting with the Pledge of Allegiance? Sorry. You can do it. We'll go with you. That was really bad, I'm sorry. Go ahead, get us started. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So the board did meet in closed session, and we have nothing to report out from that session. Let's see. So, Superintendent Geisels, before we approve the agenda, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Trustee Hennessy, we would like to make a few changes. For example, the staff agenda report for item 12.2 was incorrect. It is not an action item tonight, it's info only. So I presented in front of the board a revised staff agenda report that says information only. So that's number one.
Okay.
The second thing we would like to do is move up our bus driver resolution to immediately after 9.1, after North Tahoe Middle School Showcase. So I would like to move 11.1 right underneath 9.1. And because they're related, I would like to move up 12.2, revise the beginning and ending dates for 23-24 school calendar, up to immediately after 10.1, superintendent's update.
Thank you. Okay, so do we need a motion to make
Yes, you
those
do.
changes? All right, so is there a motion to amend the agenda as presented?
I will make a motion to approve the revised agenda.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
President
Aye.
Driller, yep, and aye. Thank you. All right, so. Joan, are all these for the calendar item, or are there any that are not?
There are a few of them that aren't, some of them.
So we need-
For petition, so I don't think they're, I'm just gonna ask, anybody who put in a public comment, was it for the calendar item, or was it something different than? So we have one calendar item, Julie has one calendar item, so Julie, you would be when the calendar.
So,
Everybody else's is not an item, right?
So right now is when we would hear a
Correct.
public
Okay,
comment.
everything else is separate, this one.
Okay, thank you. So we would listen
So
to
any
public comment
comments
right
that,
now.
public comment for any item not
Not
on the agenda is what you do tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Okay, so we can start there, correct?
yes, and you have
Okay, so
timer.
we have
Dee Dee.
names that we will call out. When your name is called out, please come over here to the podium. You will see a 3-minute and 3-minute only clock across from you. So again, these are not related to anything on the agenda tonight. All right,
Sorry, there's two. There are two. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Kim is,
I'll go through 'em.
and Julie, those are the two.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone else I can call. All right. So the first name for public comment is Laurel Anderson. Oh, it says it right here.
Come on up, Laurel, and you've got 3 minutes at the podium.
And then when you get to the podium, there's a little button. You press it. When the light is green, we'll be able to hear you. There you go. All right, and there's your clock right there. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. My name is Kira Scott, and I'm a junior at Truckee High School. I'm a member and co-leader of the Tahoe Youth Action Team, which is part of the National Youth Action Team of Citizens Climate Lobby, or CCL. CCL is a nonprofit organization focused on enacting climate legislation and addressing the global climate crisis through civic advocacy, and currently has 538 active chapters worldwide. The Tahoe Youth Action Team, founded in 2020, aims to further CCL's goals through a variety of actions. One of these is the energy efficiency climate resolution we are presenting today. You have all seen the resolution already, but we have additional copies for you tonight. This resolution was drafted with the intention to reduce TTUSD's greenhouse gas emissions and increase energy efficiency through several key measures. First, we are proposing to reinstate energy auditing in the district and hire a district sustainability manager. This will help us better understand our current emissions baseline and organize our efforts to yield the greatest possible reduction in the school's environmental impact. The resolution also puts forth measures to minimize the district's greenhouse gas emissions by implementing regulations pertaining to energy use intensity, total air changes per hour, and fossil fuel combustion, and by pursuing sustainability goals like LEED certification. Finally, we want to emphasize the important roles that collaboration with youth and community members, as well as innovation to develop solutions specific to the Truckee area, will play in taking effective action. Additionally, I want to mention the efforts of the Tahoe Youth Action Team to gain visible community support for the resolution in the form of a petition we started on change.org 1 month ago. As of this afternoon, the petition has over 500 signatures, most of which came from climate-conscious students and parents in TTUSD. We hope to raise even more awareness about the importance of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting sustainability in the school district by continuing to gather signatures. Although Earth Month will soon be over, we cannot underscore the importance of continuing the conversation about climate action, given the time-sensitive nature of this issue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. She gave a different name when she stepped up. Okay, so the next name to come forward, please, is Sophia Martin, and after that will be Jana Palmer. Thank you. Is this a bribe? We're not allowed bribes on this board. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laurel Anderson. Sophia
There we
Martin will
go.
come up after me.
Okay.
And I'm a senior at Truckee High School. I'm a member and leader of the Tahoe Youth Action Team, and we would like to express our gratitude for the work and actions that TTUSD has taken in the past to combat climate change. This includes purchasing multiple electric school buses and the fantastic achievement of the Green Ribbon Schools Award for success in providing effective environmental education and reducing environmental impacts and costs. We recognize TTUSD's commitment to sustainability and appreciate every action taken, yet there is still much work to be done. As is widely known and celebrated in our community, this month is Earth Month, celebrating the beginning of the environmentalism movement, and even still we are facing an existential threat to our future. As a district, we can act with greater urgency and ambition to protect our beautiful Truckee environment and the health of students and Truckee residents, as well as be a leader in environmental action. While creating this resolution, we used resources from Rewiring America, resources from New Buildings Institute, and resources from DPS for Climate Action, a group of students who successfully got the Denver School District to adopt climate policy similar to ours. Also, the National Youth Action Team's major initiative currently is school electrification, so we've had access to many resources provided by them as well. As students of this school district, we have done extensive learning and work to put together a resolution that has proven to be successful. Especially with the recently passed Inflation Reduction Act, TTUSD can look into many available sources for funding, including the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, to access multiple resources to advance climate solutions. We can also hand out copies, if you'd like, of a funding summary by the World Resources Institute and the Aspen Institute. The Inflation Reduction Act provides opportunities for schools to use tax credits directly to transition clean energy and clean transportation, and helps schools reduce the costs of installing renewable energy like solar panels, geothermal heat pumps, and energy storage systems. The IRA also includes tax deductions for energy efficiency, a greenhouse gas reduction fund, and many grant and loan opportunities. It is undeniable that climate change is an immediate and devastating threat. Thorough research and observations about the impact of the climate crisis have motivated our team to present this resolution. According to the synthesis report of the IPCC, in 2019, atmospheric CO2 concentrations were higher than at any time in the last 2 million years. This fact alone should prompt immediate action to slow impacts. It is also shown that economic damages from climate change have been detected in climate-exposed sectors, including agriculture, forestry, fishery, energy, and tourism. Truckee relies on its tourism to support many residences and local businesses and takes pride in its environment. This further provides motivation for every organization, especially TTUSD, to take advantage of every opportunity to decrease environmental impact. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Sorry.
No worries.
All right, Sophia Martin. And after Sophia will be Jana Palmer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have to push it the whole time, or is it on?
Is it light green?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. You can leave it like that.
Perfect. Good evening. My name is Sophia Martin, and I am a sophomore at Truckee High School. As part of the Tahoe Youth Action Team, I understand that we have set high expectations in this resolution. While we feel that all components are necessary, we understand the imperative nature of collaboratively working with the members of the school district to best mold the resolution to fit the needs of TTUSD. For example, the current range of electric school buses might not be practical with certain long school bus routes within our vast district. However, we ask that you keep in mind that technology is ever evolving and we will be able to accomplish this goal soon. Right now is the perfect time to accomplish these goals. With copious amounts of funding available, as showcased in the Inflation Reduction Act, there has never been a better time to undertake this project. In relation to concerns about economic feasibility for these action items. To emphasize, this resolution puts forth an ambitious plan to improve energy efficiency, electrify and decarbonize buildings and transportation, and hire a sustainability manager to prioritize the mitigation of the school district's negative effects on the local Tahoe Truckee climate. We ask that you take the next necessary steps to be able to adopt this resolution in order to complete these action items created by the students of TTUSD. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Jana Palmer, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your first name, Ailey Scott, you're going to be next.
Hello, my name is Jana Palmer, and I'm a sophomore at Truckee High School, as well as a member of the Tahoe Youth Action Team. I wanted to share a little with you all about why we feel it's important for you to consider this resolution we are proposing. This resolution is ultimately important to us because, as youth, the future is in our hands. We are the next generation, and we will have to live with the consequences of climate change if we do not take action now. The IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, found in their 2023 report on climate change that there is more than a 50% chance that global temperature rise will reach or surpass 1.5 degrees Celsius between 2021 and 2040 at the current rate of emissions. This makes it even more important for us to take action now and do what we can to limit our carbon emissions. We want to do as much as possible to ensure the future generations of Truckee residents are able to enjoy the land around us as much as we do. And to do that, it's our responsibility to make change. To make this possible, we need the support of adults like you. While we wish we could do it all ourselves, the reality is we're still teenagers, and until we're in a position of power like you all have, we will continue to rely on you to listen to the voices of youth to make the change that we're capable of achieving together. That is why we ask you to consider this proposal. As school board members, it is in your best interest to listen to the students, as we are the future of this town, this country, and ultimately this planet. Change can only be made if it starts at small levels like this proposition, and we hope that you will listen and give it some consideration. Thank you all.
Thank you. So, Ailey Scott and Adrian Kimber. Are either of them here?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good. Okay, my name is Eiley Scott. I'm a freshman at Truckee High. Yeah, no, you were close. It's all good. And I'm also a leader of the National CCL Youth Action Team, which encompasses the nation essentially and also works closely with the Tahoe Youth Action Team. And as Laurel was saying earlier, currently the National Youth Action Team is really putting an emphasis on the power of our individual constituents in their communities to work to propose electrification resolutions to their school boards, because we feel that this is a very current issue, and it's something that has been accomplished successfully by school districts in Colorado, and we've seen that the impacts of schools on carbon emissions are pretty massive. And so I'm going to make this short, but I'd just like to underscore the importance of taking the concrete solutions that we have in our hands right now, which is this resolution, and moving forward with it, because we're always going to have chances to take action, and it really, it's important that we take them when they come, because we really don't have a ton of time to sit and twiddle our thumbs and wait for the next best thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Adrian Kimber and Isaac Medina.
Hello. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to join you this evening. My name is Adrian Kimber. I am a resident of Truckee and the mother of 2 students in our local schools. I'm also a member of Citizens Climate Lobby, and for the past year have acted as the adult mentor to the youth team. I'm here this evening to support these students and the resolution that they have put forward. I understand and share their deep and existential concern about climate change, and I share their conviction that we must act with ambition and urgency to address it in any way we have power. TTUSD's beliefs hold that students are the focus of all decisions and that the physical environment of the Tahoe region is precious. I believe that the measures outlined in the resolution will help to safeguard the futures of these students and this region. I also believe that implementing the energy monitoring and efficiency measures like those proposed in the resolution will help prevent waste and save taxpayer dollars. But most importantly, I would like to bring your attention to the quality of work that these students have produced and that this resolution and these students' presence here tonight illustrates. The actions of these students are a credit to the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District. These students are hardworking, well-spoken, conscientious, motivated, and organized. It has been a true pleasure to work with them. They continually impress me with their poise and professionalism. The fact that they are a product of the school district makes me very proud and grateful that my children also have the opportunity to benefit from the education that you're providing to our community. Thank you for all of your hard work in that effort, and I hope tonight you're proud of them too. Thanks.
Thank you. Isaac Medina and Krista Finn. And I'm sorry, is it Isaac or Isaac?
Isaac.
Isaac, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Isaac Medina, and I am a local Truckee resident and a sophomore at Truckee High School. I would like to express my agreement in support of the Citizens Climate Lobby's proposed resolution to TTUSD on reducing carbon emissions by switching various services to electric energy use. I think it is a very important first step in taking action to the climate crisis, as it demonstrates TTUSD's importance in acknowledging the issue, and it would also help educate and encourage the district students to take action. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Isaac Medina y soy residente local de Truckee y estoy en mi segundo año en Truckee High School. Me gustaría expresar que estoy de acuerdo con la resolución propuesta de Citizens Climate Lobby a TTUSD sobre la reducción de emisiones de carbón para cambiar varios servicios a uso de energía eléctrica. Este primer paso sería muy importante en la crisis climática porque demuestra la importancia que tiene TTUSD en reconocer el problema y ayudar a educar y alentar a los alumnos del distrito a tomar acción. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias. Krista Finn, and then, did we already hear from Kira Scott?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what happened.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, wow, Ms. Finn.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for doing what you do for this community. My name is Krista Finn. I am a parent of 2 children who have come up through the system. One is graduating this year. The other is thriving at UC Davis, so clearly the proof is in the pudding. Good job. I'm also a director at the Public Utility District. The school district obviously does a fantastic job of preparing our young people for the future, but I also feel like we have a very strong obligation to prepare the future for them. We need something for them. We need to do this hard work. And the PUD is here for it. We're here to help support you. We want to be a partner. We're doing the exact same thing. We're doing a greenhouse gas inventory, looking at our operations. How are we going to decarbonize our water supply, for example? Conserving water is conserving energy. That's the number one thing. We're our number one customer at the PUD. All the energy that we use to move water around, to pump it up to the top of Tahoe Donner, for example. So this is a complex problem. It has solutions. We are in it together. We want to do everything that we can to partner with all of our sister districts to help us all accomplish these goals for this entire community. So we would love to have the opportunity to collaborate with the school district, creating solutions that are specific to you with us. What kind of programs can we create that will help, certainly financially, make these things happen? So I just want to thank you for your consideration. I am incredibly impressed with the people who have been coming up and speaking this evening. They definitely, they're doing their part. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I believe we have 2 more, John Henry Byer and Deidre Henderson.
I'm John Henry Byer. I'm here just to support the students who forwarded this resolution. I hope you will take it up and pass it at a future meeting. And I'm saying this as a research scientist who's been managing research and conducting research for the California Energy Commission from Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. And I've been doing basically work and research on trying to mitigate climate change for at least the past 20 years. I know how critically important it is, and it's going to affect these young people a lot more than anybody my age. We've really got to get going, and they're doing a wonderful thing, and I just want to say I support them tremendously. Way to go.
Thank you. Deidre Henderson, and I believe that's our last public comment for items not on the agenda. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Good evening. My name is Deirdre Henderson. I live here in Truckee, and I'm the group leader of the North Tahoe chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby, and I'm the co-lead of 100% Renewable Truckee. I am also the grandmother of a kindergartner at Truckee L, so I have a long-term interest in our school district. The young people around the country and around the globe are organizing to tell us, their elders and guardians, that they understand the depth of the threat climate change represents, and that they understand the terrible price that they will pay for what we fail to do now to protect their futures. They know that addressing climate change is a timed test and that we are running out of time. They're asking us to join in acting on the climate emergency with ambition and urgency. The list of their organizations is long and varied and includes Greta Thunberg and Fridays for Future. This is 0 Hour, Young Evangelicals for Climate Action, Earth Guardians, Young Conservatives for Carbon Dividends, the Sunrise Movement, the American Conservation Coalition, the young plaintiffs in the federal court case of Juliana v. United States and similar state litigations, and of course, the Tahoe Youth Action Team. You know, someday when my grandson, that Truckee L kindergartner, is older, I expect he will ask, "What did you do when you knew what was going to happen?" I want to be able to give him the right answer, and I hope you do too. So I urge you to work quickly on this thoughtful and thorough resolution, pass it, move on to planning its implementation. Our children, in whose interest you are committed to act, deserve no less. Thank you, and happy Earth Month.
Thank you. Well, thank you for all of your comments, and to the young adults in the room, I just want to say that we have read and received emails, maybe from some of you, but I definitely know I have read some emails back and forth from district staff to other adults representing you or working with you, so you are being heard. Thank you for coming tonight and for your passion. It's definitely warranted. Thank you. All right.
So the next item on the agenda, Mr. Lindeen, I know I can see you in the audience. This is a North Tahoe School Showcase.
President Driller, are you still with us okay?
Yeah, she's there.
Okay, good. Nicole? Just saying. Yeah, we good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, let's go.
Good evening, President Driller, members of the board, Superintendent Geisels. My name is Chad Lindeen. It is my pleasure to be the principal at North Tahoe School, and thank you for the opportunity for us to share with you tonight the implementation of a new program at North Tahoe School. We are implementing AVID at North Tahoe School this year. I would like to thank our hardworking staff and students for their dedication in making this implementation a success. Also, thank you to Heidi Bushway-Verkler and her media class for putting together a short video that we'll share tonight. And at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce Betsy Pillsbury, our assistant principal, who is responsible for bringing this wonderful program to North Tahoe School. Betsy.
All right. So, thanks for having us. I'm going to give you a quick history of how we got to beginning our implementation for the AVID program at North Tahoe School. And then we are going to show you a short video of our students. Our goal is to get some students here, but this program is focused on our socioeconomically disadvantaged students, and it is hard to get them here because most of their parents are working. So we put together a video, and then we're going to have some time afterwards to have our hardworking staff, as Mr. Lindeen mentioned, to share about their experience. So AVID stands for Advancement Via Individual Determination. This is our first year of the program, but not the first year of us working to support some of our most marginalized students. Quick history, how we got here is basically we look at our data every year, and year after year we see, similar to TTUSD data, that our SED students are struggling to become proficient with the grade level standards. We've tried various strategies, such as each staff member kind of adopting different students in each class to support them both academically and emotionally. We saw results, but not quite enough. The last 4 years, we implemented a GRIT Junior program modeled after the North Tahoe High School GRIT program that most of you have heard of before. There was a lot to celebrate with this program, but we found it challenging to find common language and a common experience, as we did not have an actual class designed for the supports and ideas. So we needed more. Similar to the college and career readiness class that the high school has at North Tahoe High School. Towards the end of last year, I started doing some researching, and we were brainstorming ideas to solidify the program. and what we really needed for many of our students, and we found AVID. AVID is a college and career readiness curriculum that focuses on SED students in the academic middle. So, fast forward to staff meeting last spring, where we were able to share that we were bringing AVID to our school. Thank you, everyone, for supporting it. And we literally had teachers jumping out of their seats, cheering wildly. There's even one teacher here that said that AVID was pumping through his veins. Not saying who, but as you can tell, this was really, by the reaction, we really needed this at our school, and our teachers are so dedicated to be able to support some of our most marginalized students. So this year, we're lucky to have 3 dedicated teachers with dedicated sections to implement the AVID program, in addition to a school-wide focus of AVID around organization. Although there's been some bumps in the road, like snow days and building structure stuff, we are very, very proud of our program and what we've been able to do, not even the whole year being completed. So that's why we're here today, to share the impact of AVID and how it has, to share the impact AVID has had on our students and staff. And with that, we'll watch a quick video.
Me by making me think a lot about what I wanted to do in the future, what colleges I wanted to do.
It helped with staying organized, paying attention.
Could you restart that with the volume up, please?
More to my
Me, if possible.
There is closed caption there underneath the pause stuff if the volume doesn't go up.
Impacted me by making me think a lot about what I wanted to do in the future, what colleges I wanted to do.
It helped with staying organized, paying attention, and getting better grades.
I listened more to my teachers. I actually started caring about school, and I realized that my parents took an opportunity to bring me to school so I could learn and have a better future.
AVID has truly made me think about my life goals, future, career path, and what colleges are best to attend. I learned all of the vocabulary of higher education that I had no idea of before.
AVID has taught me how to think differently and how to ask good questions. AVID has helped me be more respectful and kind to my family and my friends here.
AVID has changed my life in so many ways, like helping me in ELA or math.
I can work with my group more, and it also helps me get better grades.
AVID has impacted me to have creative ideas and to focus more on mathematics so I could get good grades and a good GPA for college.
AVID has impacted me by keeping my grades up through the tutorials, and it's just a real amazing experience.
We love AVID because you can steer yourself in any direction you choose.
All right, so thank you for watching. And so I'm going to let the teachers speak to their experience implementing AVID this year so far.
Okay, well, now I'm already crying. Hi, again. Nicole Saig. This year I'm teaching 6th grade AVID, as well as math and social studies. And so you saw some of my students up there. What I love about AVID is it is truly an investment in our AVID students. You see them taking risks to get on camera and film. They are taking risks to get up in their classes and speak in front of their teams. They are getting into tutorials to work with each other and help each other be successful. They are taking the skills that they're learning in AVID and they're bringing them into their core classes. We had in language arts yesterday a Socratic seminar, and the feedback that I got from their language arts teacher, specific names, kids you saw up on the screens tonight, were the names that were mentioned of like, oh my gosh, they were such rock stars. They brought their A game to our class discussion. So it's not only an investment for the kids that are in our class, but they're really enriching what's happening in our content area classes as well. I also see AVID as an investment in us teachers. We got to go to AVID training this summer in San Francisco. And then since then, we have been attending online trainings almost every single month. I think I've put in over 16 hours of additional professional development on how to be the best teacher I can be. Not only for my AVID students in the AVID elective, but how I can bring the AVID school-wide, not only for organization, but for all the other skills of writing, inquiry, collaboration, and reading. And finally, I really just feel like AVID is an investment in our community. I see the way that the kids are stepping up and taking ownership of their own dreams. They're sixth graders, they're already talking about college, and I can't wait to see who they become. I'm super inspired by the high schoolers that were here earlier, and I predict that you're gonna start seeing more AVID faces as we continue. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole.
Aaron Feldstein, 7th grade social studies teacher and AVID teacher at North Tahoe, and some of you were able to even come to my AVID class, which was also really cool that happened. I've heard AVID articulated as a sort of like a life hack for school, so that it is these wicker strategies, which is a series of strategies that are often learned implicitly by students who show up to school ready to go with a certain level of support from home and their community that aren't necessarily explicit. And so one of the things that I really appreciate about the AVID program overall is it takes really strong skills and strategies of both thinking and also the writing, the inquiry, the organization, all of those pieces, and makes it explicit and says, this is how you do it, right? Because if you're taking, notes on a 10-page reading and you're taking 10 pages of notes, you're not taking notes, you're copying, right? So then, there's 10 pages here, and I've got to discern what's important. Well, in order to do that, you've got to understand, you've got to have a purpose for reading it. Like, why am I reading it? What do I want to deepen my understanding about? And so, it's very much a series of these hacks that goes one into the other, until at the end, students come out being just so much more well-rounded. And it is the tide that raises all ships, not just for the students in the AVID class. As Nicole mentioned, all of us are taking ongoing trainings that we are then implementing not just in the AVID classroom, but in all of the classes. And so the next thing you know, all of the students on a grade level are more thoroughly, closely examining the nature of their note-taking. And are they taking Cornell notes? Are they doing some sort of mind mapping notes? And which note-taking strategy is the most appropriate for the task? So then you've got students who are really thinking metacognitively on a much deeper level about like, well, what am I doing here? And how best can I do this in an effective way? So that's what I really appreciate about it. All right, take it away.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dee Dee. Are you in Vermont? No. Sorry, we have that in common. I always tease her about that. But my name is Heidi Bushray-Verkler. I am the STEAM elective teacher, and I'm also the 8th grade AVID teacher. And I call it AVID Light because I unfortunately only get to see my students for 30 minutes 4 days a week because of our scheduling. So next year, I'm hopeful that I'll have them every single day for a full class period. And I started the fall with this class, and I invited some freshmen to come in, and some freshmen who are pretty influential in the student body that I have in my AVID class, and they were talking about getting good grades, turning things in, making sure that you complete your assignments, take advantage of the RTI program that's taking place at the high school when you're over there, and just talking about different ways to make the transition from middle school, even though it's just a hallway away, but make the transition from middle school to high school a little easier. For next year, I am hopeful that we'll have a full class, and then even possibly an enriched class as well, and that I will tap into the college and career readiness class at the high school a little more than we were able to this year. Particularly take advantage of them being right next door in the high school, and maybe the students could come over during their lunchtime and work with my students, and just give them that opportunity to really get a better connection with high school and really have some people to look towards and to talk to about their aspirations and their hopes and their dreams. And that this has been a great class. It's helped them really start to think about high school and college rather than, okay, it's 8th grade, we promote, blah, blah, blah. But it's also encouraged them to really start thinking about, like, Nicole said, GPA, things they need to do to get into the classes that they want to get into. And then also watching some of their cousins and their neighbors having much success at the high school level. So it's been great. It's been wonderful. And I just love that I have that closeness with the high school for the 8th graders. I also want to give a shout out. Yes, I have a media yearbook class, and Sasha Banks was the student who put together the video for us. So thanks, Sash.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. You can obviously see why Betsy and I are so proud of our staff and students. So thanks for having us here tonight.
And I just want to say thanks for the teachers for doing all the extra work for the AVID program. We've had several parent meetings, and we have a celebration May 18th for our students and our families who have completed the 1 year of AVID, and we want you guys to come. So I'll send you an email and give you the date and time as a reminder to help celebrate if you are available. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions or comments for the North Tahoe School team? No? Okay, thank you so much. Very exciting work.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just want to say thanks, you guys. It's always great to hear the kids. So thank you for bringing your video to us.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we move on to the bus driver's acknowledgement, correct?
Yes, item 11.1. Mr. Rivera, would you like to lead this off? This is the approved resolution for School Bus Driver Day, April 25th, and introduce your amazing Director of Transportation and her team. Ms. Rondo, if you want to step up.
Okay, thank you very much. So every year we get an opportunity to recognize our fantastic and wonderful school bus drivers, but also our transportation employees that work in the office, in the vehicle repair areas, in the garage. So it's just a great opportunity. It's always on the fourth Tuesday of every April. And this year we have a resolution that essentially just recognizes them for their efforts. And as you know, our bus drivers and our transportation employees have it a little tougher than other areas of California. And I'd like to personally thank all of them for everything they've done throughout this past winter in just getting our kids to school safely. We have some of the best and most experienced drivers, and I would say in the nation. So with that, I'd like to have Nanette Rondow, as you stated, our wonderful Director of Transportation, introduce her staff and provide their recognition.
And if I could get the board to come up front, is that
Yes,
okay,
please.
Ms. Rondo?
And I'd
Cabinet?
like to invite Mr. Lavazzo to come up front, our fleet supervisor, to assist me.
Yay.
So I have the pleasure of working with the smartest, most thoughtful group of professionals who provide exceptional home-to-school transportation to the students in our district. Not only do they provide transportation in the most hazardous and unpredictable conditions, this elite group of people are caregivers, teachers, and often that trusted adult. They start their day before the sun rises, and during the winter months, they often don't get done with their route until after dark. This group of people are responsible for teaching students about safety at bus stops, loading and unloading the school bus, the bus rules, including safe evacuation from the school bus. Without this group of people, many students in our district would not make it to school. We count on this group of people to use their highly qualified skills to make sure our students get to school safely. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce and acknowledge this incredible group of people, our school transportation professionals. And I'm going to hand this to you. First, I would like to call up Michelle Bergman. I'd also like to mention Michelle is our most recent Casto Chapter 6 rodeo winner 2 weeks ago. She took first place in the novice section, and we're really proud of you, Michelle. Next, I would like to call up Derek Bosserman, please. Derek's our current state rodeo champion, reigning, who assisted but was not allowed to participate in the rodeo. He is now a current judge. I'd like to call up one of our special ed drivers, Mr. Val Bragg. And I know some of our employees are not able to attend. Laura Brochu, who's a current state rodeo team member. Also a North Tahoe school driver, and kudos to Mr. Lindeen and his team at North Tahoe.
I love your sneakers. Oh my God.
Next, I'd like to call up Mr. Ron Curtis, Coach Ron Curtis, who is a special ed driver. Thank you, Ron. Ron also does Monday through Friday homework club at Glenshire. Mr. Victor Diaz, I don't think he's able to make it tonight, but he is one of our drivers as well. Scott Heckendorn, one of our special ed drivers. Scott, are you in the room? He was here, but he's also a climbing coach at the gym across the street. He is a special ed driver at North Tahoe School, North Tahoe High, and we're lucky to have him. Mr. Juan Herrera, are you still here? Nope, okay. Desiree Jones, a special ed driver here at Truckee High, Alder Creek, and Truckee Elementary. And I think she left. I did see her earlier. Justin Bodie Loeffner, one of our newer bus drivers, and we are so excited that he is joining us. Bodie drives at North Tahoe School, North Tahoe High, and has a daughter at Kings Beach Elementary. Is Christian here? He has a sick child at home, so no Christian. Christian Mraz. Mr. Tom Monk, who is one of our newer drivers as well. Tom was a bus driver at Washoe and at T, and we're glad that he chose to join us. Thank you, Tom. This next person drives Donner Summit 3 times a day. Miss Dawn Parkhurst.
Love your shoes, too.
Dawn is one of the drivers that I'll call her at 3 a.m. when we're doing our weather watch, and I said, what do you think? She's like, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, hold on. But yeah, she's amazing, and we're lucky to have her. Our next driver is also one of our newer drivers, and she drives special ed at Glenshire, North Tahoe School, Truckee High, Miss Corinne Strenland. Corinne also has students in our district, as many of our drivers do. Our next driver keeps us on our toes, had some great ideas about Ride the Bus for the Earth Day week, Miss Susie Tarnay. Yay, Susie. Our next driver primarily drives for Kings Beach Elementary, North Tahoe School, and North Tahoe High, Mr. Ruben Torres. Our next driver also drives for Tahoe Lake, North Tahoe School, and North Tahoe High. And our North Tahoe drivers have to drive over the Brockway corridor frequently, Highway 28, and this person also does Highway 89 to Tahoma with Kinders from Tahoe Lake, Mr. Jerry Verkler. Jennifer Williams, are you here? Nope, Jennifer? Okay. Jennifer is not here. Our next driver drives for Glenshire, North Tahoe High, Alder Creek Middle School, has 4 lovely children, and we are so lucky to have her, Natalie Wilson. A Truckee High graduate as well. So now we're going to move on to support staff who also drive routes and sub, like we all do, with the exception to a couple of our mechanics and Mr. Levezzo. This next person is our newest dispatcher and is currently driving a special ed route for Glenshire, and we are so glad she chose us, Kelly Anderson. This next person, we count on our instructors to train our drivers, and we have such an impeccable training program. We're often called out by the state of California, Department of Ed, because we train drivers to drive safely and also address the needs of students. We exceed the minimum requirements, and this instructor she's just top of the list in California, Tishelle Criswell. Our next instructor came to us from Shasta County in Reading, Shasta County Office of Ed, and we are so incredibly lucky. Her teaching skills are just off the charts. She's fun to be around. She has a great sense of humor. Angela Lumbreras, please come up. Angela also is a our state rodeo team member. We currently have the state team in California as well. Our next person could not be here. He's our lead dispatcher who processes trips frequently, Mr. Hugo Nahara Rivas. We're sorry he can't be here, but he's amazing. I just wanted to shout out to Denise Clark. She's a retired dispatcher. She can't be here, but we can't do our job without her. She's currently doing our summer routing for the ELO program in the ESY and AIM High. So shout out to Denise. We also have a dispatcher who works part-time on call, Megan Hogan. She wasn't able to join us, but she was with us a little bit today. Shout out to Megan as well. Our next person started out as a dispatcher, then became our admin assistant in the department. She keeps all of us in check. She also drove special ed last year, and we couldn't do what we do every day without her. She has created our bus pass system. She is bilingual. She truly keeps us doing what we're doing, and we so appreciate you, Melissa Gianetto. I wanted to give a shout out to our fleet maintenance, and they could not be here. They start at 5 a.m., and I think that they let us know that they couldn't be here. Tony oversees everyone in our bus garage. Mr. Levezzo, he runs a tight ship out there in that bus garage. We have 2 mechanics, Jorge and Ricky Cooper. Our vehicle service workers, Peter and Nacho, they couldn't be here, but we certainly appreciate what they do and want to acknowledge them. And last but not least, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of Mr. Levezzo. He primarily now is doing all of our grant stuff, and we are so lucky, and I'm glad to see that the youth group here tonight acknowledge the purchase and the grants that we are receiving for the 4 electric buses early 2024. But aside from them, just the continued grant process that we're in, we are expecting 2 more buses here this summer. 1 conventional, 1 transit, and so we really want to thank you, Tony. Thank you, board, for allowing us to acknowledge the transportation team.
Do you need to approve the resolution?
Say that again?
You need to approve the resolution.
Oh, I guess. All right. And Nanette, thank you very much for your leadership and care of this department.
Yes.
Okay, so now if the board would please join me in approving resolution number 23,
22.
Pardon me?
Number 23.
Okay, resolution number 23, as the School Bus Driver Day declared on April 25th, 2023. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 23, 2022-23 for School Bus Drivers Day, April 25th, 2023.
In a second?
I will second that.
All right, so I don't forget, President Driller, let's start with you.
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, perfect. We're so proud of this department. All right, so now I believe it is the superintendent's report.
The moment we've been waiting for. Yes, I have an update for the board. Ms. Lupita, if we can get my presentation up. And let me just say to the bus drivers that can hear me, I thought of you often and many times during our winter, and what you did and how you accomplished it was just simply stellar. It's amazing. I've never seen such a dedicated, courageous group as you all, and knowing what you went through, it was just astounding. So thank you for what you did. Thank you for all of that. Epic. Yes. So I have a presentation I'd like to talk about. It's about our snow days and the lessons that we have learned. And I am very excited about presenting what we have learned and what we have come up with and maybe some ideas moving forward. And let me just say right off the bat, the district has I repeat, no intention of changing the 23-24 school year calendar. Please know that. And I apologize for causing any undue stress on behalf of that. What we would like to do is discuss some of the concepts that we have thought of. And if you bear with me during my presentation, we'll have some time for discussion. So basically, why the need for snow days? Right up there, our region and our weather. It is what it is here. So here is the process for calling a snow day in case you're interested. And we get a warning from the National Weather Service, Reno, Sacramento. Nanette usually sends us these warnings. We dread Nanette's emails, but we have to deal with them. Based on the warning, our Weather Watch team meets at 3:45, and I want to acknowledge the members. Todd Rivera, Nanette Rondow, Tony Levezzo, Amber Burke, Barbara Kane, Ed Hilton, Serge Balint, Rob Coster, and Joan Zappatini. We meet at 3:45 on the mornings. So we review the data provided by the following partners. Nanette usually has a Google Doc all ready to go, and everyone has provided input as far as our partners are concerned. Depending on the severity of the storm warning and the longevity of that warning, we invite the National Weather Service to come, and they actually show up. They come at 3:45 in the morning, and that is what we really appreciate. Nanette has talked to California Highway Patrol, she's talked to Caltrans, she's talked to Placer County, she's talked to the town of Truckee, and Tony's driving in from Reno, he's giving us reports. We've also talked to snow removal contractors. This all happens before we even make a decision. We even talked to staff members on each of these fronts, and I forgot to add, and I apologize, Reno, which is, where Tony comes from, but we have staff members on West Shore, Tahoma. We have staff members in Tahoe City, Kings Beach, Tahoe Donner, Glenshire, Truckee, and Donner Summit. And based on the information provided at that time, the team makes a decision regarding whether to proceed with a regularly scheduled day, call a full snow day, or a minimum day, or a delayed start. Okay.
Carmen, we had 27 weather watches this year.
I think he's telling me. Thank you, Ed. It was a hard year. It was, as we said, epic. So here's some candor. The challenges when calling a snow days. As you can see, it changes abruptly, even though it was the second snowiest winter on record since 1946, I heard. We are dependent upon our partnering agencies for road clearings. They're working just as hard as we were. And I think the issue this year is that we started in October. They didn't really start planning until maybe December, right, Nanette? So that was a tough one. We have 2,000 of our students, almost half of our students rely on our transportation. And we must provide that equitable access. We are 723 square miles, give or take a mile, and we sit in 3 counties. We are one district and cannot call a snow day for one side of our district due to our interdependence on food service, transportation, and other programs. And of course, this year we had unpredictable snow loads. We did not see how fast and furious the snow came, and we had to find alternate locations and options for instruction. That was something that we had to pivot to. And thank you to those school sites and principals and teachers for doing that. And classified staff, everyone was involved in that. So thank you. Another, items that were challenging was, sometimes the roads get cleared for safe travel to and from. It'll be perfect at 4 a.m., then there's a spin out. And then you know what happens with that. The bus stop locations. Is it safe for a child to be standing in the location that we have for bus stops? Our neighborhood roads. And then one thing that I know gives Nanette and Tony and the bus drivers a lot of anxiety is our special ed students, is trying to get them, because we're responsible for door-to-door service, and it's really tough to do that. And the staff commuting concerns, coming from wherever they come from, it's really tough for them to get there. And sometimes it'll be beautiful at 4 a.m. and we say, oh, it's a regular school day, and we've lived it where at 7 o'clock it's pounding. So school sites, is there power at every site? Can staff access that? Can we clear the sidewalks for that? So these are all considerations and challenges. We talk constantly, and thanks to Nanette and our team, our Weather Watch team, to all of the counties involved constantly. And sometimes we make the storm update, and sometimes it overproduces or it underproduces, or it'll hit south or hit us dead on and hard. So, and then of course the accidents or closures. We were so excited that it wasn't going to be a snow day that one morning until Nanette called me and said there was a 10-truck accident on I-80. Which just in Truckee, right there. So, and then bus routes are delayed and, and staff are delayed to school. So the one thing I want to say, and I know it is what it is, but we make the most informed decisions possible based on the information we have at hand. And sometimes, most of the time, we will not make everyone happy. So that is another piece of candor. So what do we do with bus transportation? What do we do behind the scenes during snow days? And again, hats off to our transportation team. A team of our staff considered essential workers, they do the following. You see that. They monitor the weather conditions, they survey bus stops and road conditions, they remove snow at the TMO, they communicate frequently with TTUSD facilities, maintenance, and snow removal partners. They're constantly on the job. They arrive early to assess, for chaining buses and removing snow. We have a corridor and an alternate routes for busing due to the conditions. And again, our worry is those door-to-door service for our special ed students. We have to provide in some way equal access. So why are we talking about all this? What is driving this conversation? Well, 3 big things. Number one, we have heard overwhelmingly from parents, families about the learning loss of snow days. They were very upset. I think, how many, Todd? 14 this year, and maybe more for Donner Trail? 16. And so another issue too is why we're talking about this is the need for us to file a J13A waiver, which I'll talk about, when our days are exceeded. And then of course, students are the focus of our decisions, and providing in-person instruction is the best possible experience for our students. Digital learning is not an option according to the state of California. Might be in Nevada County or Nevada State, Washoe and Incline, but not here. It was only during COVID, and the state has no intention to allow us to use digital learning as an option for instructional days. That's a big one. So the J13 waiver, what is it? It basically, Ed Code, which is the law we follow, public school districts follow, allows us, or allows the state superintendent to credit school districts for days that a district is closed due to extraordinary conditions. Well, thanks to Governor Newsom, we were in extraordinary conditions this year. This is done by the district filing a J13A waiver, which we typically do towards the end of the school year. So when it's approved, the district receives instructional time credit for the days lost to those closures. This instructional time credit satisfies with state law with regard to instructional days. So in other words, we get credit for the days that we missed due to the extraordinary circumstances. It doesn't mean that we are addressing learning loss, it just means we get credit for those days. Since 2017, the district has filed for a J13A waiver 4 different times. Well, and this year is going to be one of them. Also, in addition to that, TTUSD in 16-17, I guess that was the Snowmageddon 16-17, had only 3 additional days added to the calendar. After that year, 5 were added. So there is a process for increasing those days. Once you increase the extra days, you're required to keep them. So if we increase to 6, we would have to stay at 6. So that's something to consider as well. And again, students are the focus in providing, notice, in-person instruction, because teachers are the most important and valued people in the classroom in front of our students. Digital learning is not an option. So this is something that we really need to stress. Also, too, the digital packets, again, they're not approved by the state of California. All of those options, and it may not ever happen in that case. So that is something that we need to consider. So some of these little bubbles are some of the feedback we've received from families. Like, for example, go to the state and ask to allow distance learning. Keep the breaks, but offer intercessions during those breaks. Go year-round. Get rid of the block schedule at Truckee High. That, I think, is because of the severity of how it is hard to catch up once we have snow days. Extend the academic calendar 7 to 10 days. Eliminate minimum days for teacher planning. I'm not sure about the one in the bottom, but I think it means alternate staffing and classroom models, maybe flip-flopping for those that can be there and those who cannot. So these are just some of the suggestions that we've had. So, based on the input we have received, and again, I apologize for stressing out everyone, it is not the district's intent to change the 23-24 school year calendar previously adopted by the board. So I just want you to know that. However, at the same time, what we would like to do is look at some of the concepts and the processes for the calendar with the extra snow days to see if it's something viable that we can pursue for future planning. So do we stay with 5 days or do we add more than 5? Beginning with 24-25, so that's a runway, a year's notice. So here are some examples, some conceptual examples. For example, we start 3 days early, we start 3 days earlier I looked at that and it's delayed. 3 days earlier, do we shorten ski skate week to just the 2 federal holidays and go the last 3? I will say, just to muddy up the water even more, if we had done that this year, we would have been in snow days those 3 days during ski skate week. And then the flex days make up. So let me explain the flex days. So if you have a day like we had March 8th, March 18th, and Ms. Kramer, you might need to help me here, and May 24th, for example, those flex days are there just in case we need to go to school. For example, if we had 3 snow days by March, then those flex days are gone. We come to school. But if we don't have any snow days by March, we could take March 8th off and have a long weekend. The problem is scheduling. The problem is getting parents to be able to figure that out with childcare. We were just trying to figure out some alternative creative solutions for that. Did I miss anything? Okay, thank you. And then at the end of the year, add 2 more snow days, makeup days at the end of the school year calendar. Now, I've also heard from staff that sometimes adding school days at the beginning of the year is much more productive than adding them at the end of the school year because it's the end of the school year. And students are much more attentive and ready to learn at the beginning of the year. But that creates issues as well with family planning. So these are some next steps, and this is what I'm requesting from the board as far as input, and then I'm sure we'll hear some public comment. We will keep 23-24 as previously adopted. I got it, okay? We would like to consider the concepts in the snow day 10-day calendar for future planning. We would like to develop a process for gathering future additional input from our parents, our students, TTA, CSEA, community, and really especially students. And thank you to North Tahoe School for sending me your students for your emails today. Really appreciated that. It might be in the form of a survey, but we would figure out how we would do that. And then based on that input, per board policy, we would like our calendar committee to take through facilitated by Joan, take all that information and maybe come up with 1 or 2 versions for 24-25. Do you want to stay with 5? Do you want to add 6 one year, 7 the next, or not? But what we would like to do, and this is where I'm asking for input, is there anything else we could be doing to consider the fact that, again, in-person instruction is what we have to provide? How do we do that? And I guess what's been hard and what's really started the debate is parents want us to deal with learning loss, but at the same time, parents don't want us to change the beginning of the school year. They don't want to change their vacation or the end of the year. So how do we figure this out together? And maybe because this is a tough conversation, it got a lot of input, which we really appreciate. So that is what I wanted to present to the board today. And then before I ask for questions or comments for the board, I was hoping that perhaps Trustee Hennessy, we ask for public comment, if you want to do that.
Yeah, of course, and I think we have some formal comment cards, but if anyone else wants to provide a comment on this topic, this is the time. So right now, if we could have Ms. Julie Otis, and then following that, Kim Furtado.
Chris, before we start that, would you just make a note too that we did receive a fair number of communication via email?
Yes, yeah, we did.
Okay,
Thank you for reminding me. We received a lot of emails, both for and against this process of changing the already set forth calendars for the next 3 school years. So thank you for the comments. Every single one of them was read. You have my word on that. And yeah, thank you for reminding me. Dee Dee, anything else on that? Some of us also receive texts, phone calls, visits. All right. Which are welcomed and should be happening. I'm just saying, we've heard, we're listening. All right, Miss Julie Otis.
Hi. So I am here just to talk about a concept for future use. My name is Julie Otis, and I am the reading intervention teacher at Kings Beach Elementary. I am also a very proud parent in the district. I am here to ask the board to consider a year-round school schedule when looking at the TTUSD calendar in the upcoming months. My number one reason for requesting a year-round schedule is that it would be beneficial for our students with low socioeconomic status. A long summer break can be very difficult for these students as the cost of summer camps and enrichment activities are astronomical. I personally have to save up for months. Many of these kids are left to their own devices, literally and figuratively. Often they suffer from summer slide, which broadens the achievement gap with their more privileged peers. Disadvantaged students also have limited access to food security and other services such as counseling, wraparound services, educational resources, etc. during the summer months. While some research is mixed about the precise outcomes, many school districts around the nation are opting for year-round school to prioritize the needs of a population who so often is unable to speak up for themselves. While supporting students with low socioeconomic status is my main reason for speaking tonight, there are a plethora of other benefits for a year-round schedule. Having more consistent breaks helps students adjust more readily instead of having to relearn school readiness skills again each fall. Also, more frequent breaks prevent teacher and student burnout. Research shows that students who attend year-round schools have lower dropout rates. Another reason why I'm a proponent of year-round school is that families have longer breaks during the school year for travel. This may alleviate the independent study and truancy burden since many families want to travel internationally over breaks and especially during the holiday season to visit family. Alternatively, if students stay around town over these scheduled breaks, our community can enjoy Tahoe and what the area has to offer during the off-season. With this forward-thinking approach to scheduling, the school district can provide inter-session opportunities. During the break, students can participate in enrichment or tutoring. Students can go to team practices, college prep courses, enrichment STEAM camps, school trips, etc. Students who need academic support could go to intervention sessions, class preparation courses to level the playing field when they enter a class they're already prepared, or take technical career courses. Truly, the possibilities are endless. And lastly, which is pertinent to what Ms. Geisel said, with the unprecedented snow year and devastating forest fires, a year-round schedule would give the district more flexibility with snow and smoke days. I think a flex day here or there does not provide as powerful instruction as having the option of adding a whole week during one of the planned breaks. And looking at the calendar, these planned breaks are usually in the fall and in the spring, so when you add them, they don't have snow like during Ski Skate Week. I think that a year-round calendar provides an innovative approach to closing the achievement gap while also providing other benefits. I know it is a controversial topic, so thank you for your consideration. I really appreciate everything you do for our staff, students, and community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I did forget to mention there is a clock across from the speaker, and you do have 3 minutes. Thank you. Nope, you were like right on there. Okay, is Kim Furtado here? Great. And then the next one is Sharon Freeman?
Hello.
Hello.
I do not have an eloquent speech prepared. I'm a bit winging it. I am game with extending the calendar in either direction. I think what myself and most parents that I am, affiliated with and hang out with, the unpredictability of the flex days and the dropping in more days, we don't have that flexibility with our jobs. That's where our pain point is. So if you need to start earlier, I'm cool with that. If you need to drag it out later, I'm also cool with that. We have to plan our vacations a year in advance, so when things are changed on the fly, it really affects us drastically. So that's, the long and the short of it for me. I think our teachers are great. I was blessed enough to have Kirsten at Glenshire Elementary, and I really love the instruction that my kids get, so I want it to be in person, and I want them to show up. But the unpredictability of the days is really, really difficult for us. And I do have to say that I think that snow days were given out a little bit liberally at the very beginning. And I understand that you guys have to make some calls, but there were clearly a handful of days where there wasn't snow, where we could all drive on an inch of snow or whatever that looked like. At least in my territory, I don't live on the summit, so holla to y'all that do. I don't know how you do that, and thank you to the bus drivers, because God knows we also can't live without you guys. Anyway, that's my input. I want my kids in there. I also have a special needs student, so he needs to be in class absolutely every day that's possible. And when he's not, things go south. So that's my input.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sharon Freeman, if you're still here. Okay. I don't see her coming forward. So then now it's time for board comments, and if we could start with President Driller. She's still with us on the?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you go first so I don't make a mistake of forgetting?
That's be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. I actually am not with you guys, far, far away. I'm still in New Zealand, and I'll be back on the 3rd for the next board meeting. But just wanted to give a quick shout out to all the board members that have been there diligently taking on all this while I'm gone and helping. But did come down here for our daughter, North Tahoe student, finally got her doctoral in chemical engineering down here, so we came down for that, and then we stayed a little bit longer. So I've been listening. I did respond to as many emails as possible before this meeting, a few hours difference, so I got up a little bit after you guys did, but wanted to reiterate again, that's part of the reason why we have these public inputs and public comments, is that we do need to hear from you, and I'm happy that everybody did give us comments, and I'm hoping to get to the rest of them, and that's it for me. I'll be home in a week.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lavak, do you want to start over there?
I don't really have anything to say tonight.
Okay.
I'm just going to wait until next time.
Okay, so Danielle, do you have any comments on this topic?
Well, first I want to acknowledge all the public comments that came in, and I'm one of those people who's an avid note taker, so I just want to acknowledge that they're all here on my notepad. And what I got out of it is, although I think there was some stir up about it being for next year, there were a lot of just points made that I don't think everyone would have realized had we not sort of had this conversation now, which I think is good. So everything from predictability, which I think is important, understanding, what the expectations are if it's a snow day, like how those are being called. So it's great that Carmen was able to share that and kind of explain that to the community. And the other thing that I really appreciated reading and understanding too was people's passion for the area that we live in, because June isn't always the best weather in our community, but August is amazing. So I think looking at that, when we talk about the 24-25 school year, I think is something that we should consider. And then I think just sort of the outreach portion of this, of if we're going to talk about making these changes, it sounds like the committee's going to take that on, which is great. I think a survey is a really positive option. And something I would be curious to kind of understand is how people feel about what was spring break and ski skate week. Like, are those the same to everyone? Because I'm not sure I got that with some of the feedback that we had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ski skate week seemed to have a higher value because maybe that's when not everyone else was taking vacation, that it was different than like the Bay Area schools. And so you could travel for cheaper, or you just weren't competing with sort of the tourism that happens in our area. But I don't know how people feel about what was our just general spring break timeframe. Would people be willing to give that up? Yeah, I think that's just something interesting. And then I was not aware that if we decide to tick up the number of days that we say are snow days, that we have to stick to that. So I think that's something that should be part of the conversation too, because I'm not sure a lot of other people would understand that either. If we decided to go to 10 and we have to stay with 10 kind of in perpetuity, that may not be right. I'm just looking at the number of days that we've had kind of already on the books. Yeah, I think it's worth asking that question. 4 questions. I probably could come up with a lot more, but I think just really acknowledging all the conversations that I had with people, the emails that went back and forth, just hearing people's kind of personal stories about how they schedule was important too, because we have such a wide range of student population that we serve. So we have sort of to our previous comment about are kind of socioeconomic disadvantaged students where, you know, spring break doesn't mean vacation to them, it means a struggle. And that's very different than, well, I need my break to be able to do my ski sessions and sports. So there's a difference there. There's also a difference between sort of our elementary school kids and sort of our high school kids, that once you hit that high school level, it's a lot harder to be able to just take time off that isn't already pre-programmed. So I'm just looking at this wide range of all the information that we've been given, and I think, you know, kind of now that that's out in the open, hopefully the other parents are aware of that too, and can kind of come up with some suggestions for us. It's great to tell us about your schedules and what your needs are. I also would encourage everyone to bring us suggestions of some solutions too. And the ones that we got, unfortunately, were more applicable to the 23-24 school year, but I think we've got an opportunity now that everyone's talking about this, start looking at the 24-25 school year and figuring out what we want to do with that. What are those opportunities, and how many days should we be planning for as part of that? So I'll stop rambling, but I think
you're making some good points.
I think this is a really important conversation, just because of that predictability aspect, both for our student population, our teacher population, but also just for how our families function in the community. Yeah, I think that's all of my questions. I'll send you more later if I have more.
How about you, Pat?
Well, thank you for bringing up the different aspects of dealing with the calendar and how it affects different students and different families and so on. I really appreciate that, and I hope people are aware of that. There's quite a population of people out there that we have to think about and consider when these decisions are being made. That wasn't planning what I was going to say, but what you said was so great. I have to, but I have to reiterate an important point about the Transportation Department. What they went through this last winter, and in all winters really, but last winter especially, I think was remarkable, and I'm glad Dawn is here, because she drives that Donner Summit route, and she takes, Fletcher up there and all his buddies and keeps him safe on the bus, and that's got to be a treacherous route. That's just a crazy drive, I think, under certain circumstances. And I know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes to keep our buses maintained and running, and I want to shout out to the maintenance department as well over at the TMO, and administratively as well. It's great. I can send Nanette, and hopefully she receives it as a parent, not as a board member, but my son is doing this or that, and she gets the information to Dawn, and Dawn takes care of it, and I never really worry about the kids on the bus. And so thank you so much. And I'm gonna one up Mr. Rivera, who said you guys are probably the best in the country. But when I think about what you do and the conditions and the environment that you drive in and operate in, I would say you might even be the best in the world. I don't know where else they're driving in these kind of conditions. The Himalayas, but I don't think they have school buses there, I'm pretty sure. And then regarding, I have a couple things I want to say about the snow days and the calendar and so on. I want to bring up again something that Carmen mentioned in her presentation, and that is that we learned from the pandemic that while our teachers did a pretty incredible job of pivoting and teaching distance learning during the year and a half or the year that was required, we learned that it's an inferior teaching model to in-person instruction. And as we think about how we can recover snow days, I think one of the key areas to look at is the calendar and get kids into classes. And in order to do that, we have to create snow days, one way or the other, so that we can make up these days that we lost to snow days. And aside from the state not allowing us to do online distance learning, I think if we have the option to get kids into classes through the addition of snow days, whether they're at the beginning of the school year, the end of the school year, or flex days, or pulling them out of ski skate week, that we need to start looking at that for future calendars. We can't keep losing these days. I believe in the presentation, in the last 7 years, we have exceeded our snow day allotment self-imposed snow day allotment 4 times. I don't know, what is the total number of days that we've actually lost of instruction? You don't have to add that up now, but I'm sure it's quite a bit. Yeah. And we need to really figure out a way. And I know that when this calendar proposal went out, I read all the emails as well, every word of them, as Chris mentioned. And there are aspects in those emails that, I feel for those parents and for those people. My kid is a skier. I want him to be able to go skiing. We take vacations here and there. I love August summer. I don't want to come back in the middle of August. I don't want to stay till the end of June. But we have to work out something where we're all, I don't think anyone's going to be happy, but we have to work out something that's going to work for the sake of those kids who are losing instruction. And with having gone through a pandemic and this winter, we need to take hold. We need to get a hold of the reins of getting kids in class and take control of that. So it won't be this coming year, but something's got to happen the year after. And I'm hoping that our calendar committee will come up with some really creative ideas that we can all look at.
Thank you. So in the past, just for information, and Ms. Zapatini, correct me if I'm missing someone, our calendar committees, which happen every 2 years for 3 years out, or every
year for 2 years out. We had the one where COVID was involved, so we got it 2 years.
Okay.
We're leapfrogging a year.
Okay, so those committees include district staff, teachers, parent voice,
Board member.
one board member.
In district staff, when you separate, we have classified and certificate.
Yes.
We also have some management.
Yes. So it's pretty well rounded.
Bargaining unit representatives too, right? Okay.
If you didn't hear, bargaining unit representatives. So it's pretty well rounded. So I think that what I'm hearing is, so we know we're staying put next year with what's already been approved, publicized, and planned upon by our families and teachers and district staff. So what I'm hearing is that for the 24, 25, and 25, 26 years, which are already approved, but sounds like we are in approval of sending it back to the committee to reassess and review the calendar. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think first is to survey, get a survey out there first and say,
Yes.
parents, if you were going to get rid of one, spring break or ski skate week, which one? Are you interested in year round? Are you interested in 5 or 6 or 7 or 8? We'll put a choice up there. Are you interested in intersession instruction, which would involve working with our teachers' bargaining units, because that would be something we would have to negotiate.
Right.
Also, are you interested in adding at the beginning of the year or end of the year? We have a bunch of questions we can ask and just gather that information. And it may be that the calendar committee, I'm looking at you, Erin, because you're on it, maybe that the calendar committee could come up with maybe several, option A or option B, whatever they see fit. We do that survey during the month of May, and then the calendar committee can meet also Joan, and we can get that information to them. And then maybe by June, I'm off the top of my head, June 7th, we bring an info-only calendar for 24, 25, and then let the board, parents knock it around, and then June 21st, our last board meeting of the year, we bring back the calendar for approval, and then we have it in place for 24, 25. So you've got a long runway.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always bring it back during the school year, during 23, 24, if you need to.
Yeah.
So-
And it'll be interesting because in the past, the surveys always come back 50-50, on which holidays to get rid of, and add October break and take away ski skate and add this. And so it'll be very interesting. But again, I'm glad this happened. And like you said, Danielle, this presents an opportunity. So is the board okay with surveys, committee, presenting back in June, talking it through, and then by the final June board meeting, voting on those 2 school years? Is everyone okay with that?
Or only one. It depends on what you're thinking, it would. So, depending on what comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so are we good with that? Is staff?
We have our marching orders, Joan.
Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
All right, so now, then, the next item on the agenda, does that end your superintendent's?
Yes,
report?
ma'am, it does,
Okay.
thankfully.
All right. So now if we could just go to item 12.2.
12.1.
Or 12.1, which is the approval of the superintendent learning officer employment agreement. And I think, Danielle, you're going to take that on, yeah?
I am, thank you. So at our last board meeting, the board approved appointment of Kirsten Kramer, our district's next superintendent chief learning officer. And as part of that action, we had an employment agreement that we approved. And so what we're doing tonight is bringing back the revised agreement, which has all the details filled in. And as part of that, we're required to read out loud what the salary is as part of that. So I can do that as part of the making a motion, but I didn't know if we want to take any public comment.
Is there a public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, go forward.
Great. Then I would like to make a motion to approve the superintendent chief learning officer employment agreement with Kirsten Kramer in the amount of $232,910. And this is step 2 of the superintendent chief learning officer scale.
Okay, so we will take a vote on this. Is there a motion to approve this?
Do you want a second?
I'll second the motion.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Kirsten?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
Congratulations. All right, next item on the agenda is a consent agenda. Do we have any changes, or does staff wish to pull
No,
any
we do
items?
not. No changes.
What about the board? Any changes or pulling items from the consent agenda? All right. So could we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, please?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, thank you. And next, business services superintendent?
Yes, Mr. Rivera is going to talk about approving the amendment between TTUSD and Court Construction and DBA Core West for the North Tahoe Campus Modernization Project. Todd?
Thank you. So the introduction said said most of it. This is an amendment for our contract with Core Construction for the North Tahoe Modernization Project in the amount of $406,173. And I did want to take a step back, and there was a board question about whether this was within our budget, and I just wanted to explain some things in a little bit more detail for the board, since we do have new members that weren't here when we originally approved this contract with Core Construction. This particular project is being performed under what we call a leaseback construction method. With school districts, we have a couple different choices on how we deliver our projects. One is a hard bid, which means you do the design first, and then you go out and you put an advertisement in the paper, and you get contractors to bid on the project, and you're required to take the lowest responsible bid. A lot of times districts can get into some issues if you get a bad contractor, right? And there may be a lot of change orders that take place if there wasn't things that were included in the bid. The other option for districts is what's called a CM multi-prime, construction management multi-prime, which means that we hire a construction manager who basically runs the day-to-day operations, and then the district actually bids out individual trades or grouping of trades to subcontractors, and the district holds those contracts with those subcontractors. We actually did those on a lot of our projects with the bond program. It wasn't necessarily the preferred method, but at the time that was the best method that we had to choose from. The last method is called leaseback, and that is actually around school districts throughout California is really the preferred method for delivering projects. And in the past, we've done it with contractors. Alder Creek was built on a lease-leaseback. The second phase of Truckee High School was a lease-leaseback. And the reason why it's beneficial to districts is because you actually get to select your contractor up front. You go through a competitive qualitative selection process. You choose the contractor very early on in the process, and they're essentially your partner. And then what happens is they work through the design team, they do cost estimation, they do some constructability testing, and then they also, aid in the design project and constructability of what your scope of work is. They also have a lot of relationships with subcontractors. So that's the initial contract. Once you select that contract, a contractor, you create a contract with them, and it has two components. It has the construction improvement component, and then it also has a lease component, and that's why they call it a lease-leaseback. Essentially, what we do to build some financial arrangement with the contractor is we lease them our property, and in turn, they make improvements on our property, and then we lease it back from them and pay it off, and then it becomes under our ownership. It's kind of a complicated structure, but it really does benefit the district because we get a good contractor, and then they also provide us what's called a guaranteed maximum price, which means that they say after doing all the work up front, they go out and do their own bidding with different contractors for the work, and they come back and say, this project's going to cost this much and not a penny more, and if there's savings, then the district benefits from that. But they're on the hook for the price. So where we are in the process now is we had brought the contract originally in the lease agreement to the board, and the contract amount was only for $20,000. And essentially that covered pre-construction services with core construction, and they've been doing work over the past year with the architect and doing a bunch of tests out at North Tahoe. And then the second part of it is once they get that final guaranteed maximum price and bid, all the bids from the contractor and all the scope of work, then we bring back an amendment that has that guaranteed maximum price. Right now, we're still working on some final numbers for specific items that are in the scope of work, so we don't have that guaranteed maximum price yet. So in order for us to keep moving forward and start working on some of the project that we're going to perform over this summer, they need some upfront money to do some ordering of long lead item materials and also prepare shop drawings so we can prepare to be ready to go once school ends this year. What we will be bringing back probably in the next month or two is the actual final amendment for the guaranteed maximum price. I know that's complicated, a lot of information I just threw at you, so feel free to call me anytime and ask me questions. But essentially, right now, what the total scope of work is for North Tahoe is we're going to do stadium and bleacher replacement. That will actually occur not this summer, but the next summer. This summer, we're focusing on some interior improvements, which include ADA lifts, actually not a lift, but an elevator, which is a much needed thing at North Tahoe. The stairwell lifts keep breaking down, so that's one thing we added. We're doing some improvements to the cafeteria space. We're also doing we have to do some ADA pathway work as well within the district. And then we're doing some exterior repairs and repainting on the stucco. There's a lot of cracks just from the original installation, so we're trying to make the appearance look good, and that's a 5 to 7 year solution for us until we can actually replace siding on that building. But that's the main bulk of work that's going on. Right now, the estimated total cost is about $6 million in hard construction, which is a lot more than what we originally anticipated, but unfortunately, things are still very expensive in the construction world, and we could say, well, we'll wait a year and see if the bid climate calms down a little bit, but it could also bite us, and we could see 15% in escalation. So we're just moving forward as is. So with that, any other questions on this particular amendment?
First, is there any comment from the public on this item? Okay, what about board members? Ms. Driller?
Todd, I want to say thank you, yes, for that elaborate explanation, and I know that you've done a ton of work just getting each of those options to work in our favor, so I appreciate all that input, and yes, thank you for all that.
How about on that end of the table?
I just want to acknowledge that the comment about the cost, could be less in following years or maybe not, like the market could change. But if all the engineers that I work with consistently say, you just have to do it now, like just do the project now. You can't anticipate what's going to happen in the future. And oftentimes it does get more expensive, not less expensive. So it's always a bummer when things are higher priced than you think they'll be. But I think if it's something that's necessary, you just have to do it now and plan for it now versus waiting to see if the cost will change.
Mm-hmm. Nothing? Okay. Thank you, Todd. So now we need to take a vote to approve this amendment 22-3106A1 between the school district and core construction. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Amendment 22-31-06-A1 between Tahoe Truckee Unified School District and core construction for the North Tahoe campus modernization project.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, thank you. And then, again, Mr. Rivera, right?
Yes, now he puts on his physical services hat on.
Man of many hats.
Thank you. So just a little background. With last year's budget, or actually this year's state budget, 2022-23, they included some discretionary money for school districts, one of which was called the Arts, Music, and Instructional Materials Grant. And this was restricted in some sense, but had some flexibility to it. The state allocated just over almost $3.6 billion to school districts, and it was allocated based on a per ADA basis. We received just over $2.2 million, almost $2.3 million. And the allowable uses for this are you can use it for obtaining standard lines, professional development, and instructional materials for specified subject areas, for obtaining professional development and instructional materials for improving school climate, developing diverse, culturally relevant, multilingual school library book collections. You could also use it for operational cost, and that was pretty broad, including retirement and other health care cost increases. And then you also could use it for anything COVID-19 related, whether that's safety materials or what have you. I think we have enough shields for now. And hopefully we won't need to spend it on that, but we really worked with Cabinet to try to figure out what the best use of this money. And we determined that we really needed to use it all for instructional materials adoptions. We have several large instructional material adoptions that are coming up, most notably our math adoption, which we estimate will be approximately $1.25 million. It could be more than that. We're also going to have several smaller adoptions throughout the year, and this money essentially goes very fast if we're using it for that purpose. As you can see, we've already started some smaller adoptions at the high school level with science and economics textbooks, and that is taking a pretty large chunk just this year. And then if you could scroll down a little bit, Lupita, moving down, so we have about $816,000 that we've already allocated for current stuff we're doing, and then with the instructional materials adoption, which is occurring right now, they're doing some piloting, and then as we move into next year, we'll actually make those purchases. That's about $1.25 million, and then the remaining is just some smaller adoptions. I can say that we'll probably have more than this to adopt than what's on this spreadsheet right here. But this is a start. We also have some instructional materials reserved that we have from our lottery funds. However, that is being depleted year over year just with our annual instructional material purchases, not the major adoptions. So we really can't rely on that money for any large-scale purchases. So that is our proposal, and I should have noted that presenting a plan and approving it is a requirement of using this arts materials and instruction monies. There was a question on why we're not doing anything with arts. Most of the other categories that I described, the other 4 categories, we already have funding assigned for with arts and music, Measure AA, and also some other sources with some of the professional development. We've actually received one-time professional development funding from the state that we're still spending. And then a lot of this other stuff is really built into our general fund budget as it is. So we felt the highest need was in the instructional materials adoptions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the public or comments, from the public on this? Okay, board? Comments, questions for Todd? I can't see you, Dee Dee. Oh, no, okay.
Sorry, no.
No, that's okay. All right. Okay. Can you please come to the microphone just because we're being recorded? Thank you.
Was the funding per pupil, is that how it was estimated?
Yeah, I'll have to look back at the allocation, but it was a per ADA methodology.
And does the Sierra High School include Coldstream Alternative as well?
The ADA, did we include?
Yes, it's not allocated by site level, it's allocated district-wide, and it's total ADA, yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, one more. Please come up front.
Hi there. I guess my question is, would the allocation of new, curriculum be all physical books, just as we move towards, kids have their computers, and I just know I teach 3 different classes. I don't use the textbook in any class. We use all, just things online because it changes so much. So I just wonder if that is taken into account, the necessity for physical textbooks.
I will let Kirsten, I think there's probably a, combining of both regular textbooks and some digital licensing as well.
Exactly. Yeah, no, and so the math programs that the team is reviewing have a hard copy component and they all have digital. So what we have to weigh is the ongoing cost of those licenses year after year. That is what is taking up a lot of our lottery right now, is those ongoing costs. But most of the publishers are moving to an online format so they can update more often. Did that answer?
I wonder if you could do a survey with teachers to find out how many of them actually use a physical textbook. Because I know, again, I teach 3 classes. I don't use the textbook in any of them, and one of them is math.
At least with the math committee, which we have team members from every school site and across the grade bands, we have really good representation. So they will be able to chime in on what's needed. We really only want to adopt what will be used in the classroom. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, can we, yes? Oh, can we get a motion to approve the arts, music, and instructional materials block grant expenditure plan, please?
I'll move to approve the expenditure plan for the arts and music block grant.
Okay, the second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, great, thank you. And I think we are at the board comments section of our agenda. So,
I thought we already did that, but.
no, that was
just final
for,
comments.
that was for the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Kirsten, I did the exact same thing.
Did you?
Yes, when you said, Chris said board comments, I'm like, oh, here are my notes. So I did the same thing, sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything for tonight.
Okay. Dee Dee Driller, do you have any comments?
No more, sorry.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Danielle?
Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge the students that came and spoke about the resolution for goals for energy efficiency, clean energy, and carbon neutrality. And I know it's not something we have on the agenda tonight, but I had met with some of those students and we had talked about doing an informational session for the board to understand what the district currently does. And I think that's a good baseline for us as board members to kind of understand where we are and where we could go. So I think that's something that the staff are already working on scheduling, which is great. And I just want the students to recognize that that's in the works, and that's going to give us sort of that foundation that we need to be able to kind of understand this better when this eventually does come back to the board. But more importantly, I think it's just their initiative and clarity of vision that they bring. And I don't know how many times I said, I'm so impressed when I talk to these students, because it takes a lot of guts to kind of put yourself in front of a board or a group that you're not familiar with and to talk about things that some people perceive as adult conversations, even though that's not what this is. And I just am really impressed with the information that they've collected, the work that they've done, the background that they bring to the table, and I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation for us when we move forward. So I just want to acknowledge that. And then also, I love the art that's in the room today. So I want to acknowledge that too.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You might start to see a theme with me that I really like art, so, but I really want to shout out, these pieces are phenomenal.
These are from North Tahoe School and Mr. A's class.
I love them.
That's middle school art, y'all.
They are pretty remarkable. I was giving me something to look at during the meeting. Like Danielle, I want to acknowledge the kids that came up and talked. Two of them I had in class last year, and they are a couple of sharp kids, let me tell you, Kira and Lauren Anderson, and I applaud their commitment and looking forward, and the foresight that they have, and the presentation that they made, and who else spoke? Sophia, Dana, Eiley, and Isaac. Thank you so much, if you're still watching, for coming up and making a presentation. It was very informative and very helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, and I just would like to close by saying, look for a survey next month sometime. Please participate on the front end. When you get it, please take a minute, fill it out, be patient with the district as we assess everything we read. And good meeting, everybody. Anything else, Dee Dee? Okay, thank you, good night.